Hi there, and welcome to the FunnelFlux dashboard. So I just wanted to quickly run through the basic user interface with you. So if you're a new user, I can point out some of the basics, but we'll go over the specific sections in different videos and different documents. So when you first log in, you'll be greeted with this dashboard. The dashboard has some live stats, which is just like a running tally of basic data for whatever time range you set in here. And you have a time zone. Note that this time zone that you set here on the dashboard, that sets it globally for your account. So when you later go to the stats pages, the reports will in default be this time zone. So if you're going to the stats page and you keep changing the time zone and you notice it keeps reverting back to something else, that's because the default will be whatever it is here on the dashboard. Right, you then have some widgets showing tables of data, quite self-explanatory, and you can remove these widgets, move them around, and add new ones at your discretion. Okay, so there's various sections that you can go through here, like campaigns for actually creating and editing your campaigns, sources for creating your traffic and offer sources, offers and landers for the actual pages, stats for actually looking at your data, links, system links for getting your universal action URLs for your landers, as well as your postback and conversion tracking URLs. This is kind of the way station to just find them all in one place. Stored links, which is kind of like URL shortening, and data updates for updating conversions, costs, and removing and resetting stats. So I'll let you explore all of these areas yourself and look at the documentation that goes over each one. I won't go into detail here. And I think whenever you start using a new piece of software, it's important to be curious and just browse every section and kind of get a feel for where things are. So quite often we encounter customers and users who are completely unaware of the existence of like an entire section because they've just not really clicked there and had a look and seen what it is. Don't be that person. Go click and explore everything. Okay, so in the settings icon here, we have system settings, traffic filters, updates, and access log. Your system settings area is exactly that, just some basic settings for your tracker. The default drill down here will change whether you go to tree or flat mode by default when you're in campaigns and you click on campaigns and you look at these cached consolidated reports. This just changes the default, so that's how you deal with that. This homepage URL, when you load this domain here, so the tracker without the admin, it'll load a 404 page. It'll do this for any situations where the tracker doesn't know what to do with someone, but they came to this domain. So for example, when they go to a lander that has an action link on it, but FunnelFlux has no idea what to do with that person, they will go to this 404. Here you can set this to any URL you want. So let's set it to say google.com. And now if I was to go to this domain again, it'll redirect me to google.com. So you can set this to like a default, which is useful if you're, say, a product vendor and you want to make sure any traffic that's the FunnelFlux has no idea what to do with it, it at least goes back to your sales page, for example. Okay, these are the default redirect modes that will happen on offers and landers. It's fine to just leave these on 307 or 301. This is the threshold for winners, some statistics or statistic indicators on our stats pages. This is if you're using ClickBank. This is your API key for your own tracker. You can put whatever you want in here and click out and it will save. And here is importantly where you can change your license key to a different one if you have additional licenses and you want to change these. Okay, force HTTPS. This is for making your tracker use SSL by default. Don't turn this on unless you have SSL set up because you can kind of lock yourself out and have to go through various browser warnings to get back in. Display offer sources here. This determines whether or not the offer source is shown in the funnel editor as like a prefix, so it's just a small visual change. This auto expand campaigns just makes it so when you go to the campaigns page, it automatically expands the tree. And turn onboarding off will be for turning off onboarding messages you get from me when you first start using FunnelFlux. Okay, moving on to traffic filters. This is a section I'll explain in another video, but this is a nice way to actually block and hide data from your reports for specific ISPs, referrers, user agents, and so on. So if you're getting a lot of bot traffic, this is the place to make a filter to at least hide it from your stats by default. System updates is where, importantly, you'll execute and install updates we make to the tracker. This is also the place where you'll be able to roll back to the last update if something goes wrong or there's a bug introduced that you want to roll back from. And access log is just a log of logins to your tracker. This extremely important button here contacts our support team, as you can see here. This here is a link to various useful systems like our knowledge base, docs.funnelflux.com, our changelog, which is just a little modal pop-up of our release notes, as well as our user portal for giving feedback and documentation on the API. Lastly, we have this part here, an inbox, which is just system messages, user settings, which is your settings, and user management. I just wanted to point out one last thing here. Every FunnelFlux installation by default has this support user here added. It's a user with specific privileges that lets us kind of log into your tracker and help you figure out issues, help you with configuration. And if you want us to actually help, often we'll ask if you can enable the support user. You can see it's disabled by default. To do that, you can click Edit. So here we go, the user settings for FunnelFlux support user. You can see our settings here. It's up to you to change these if you're uncomfortable with our access in any sort of way. And keep in mind that you can actually restrict access here as well, not just for the support user, but for any user you actually add to the system. So for example, if you want us to help with a specific campaign, you could enable this user and then restrict our access just to that campaign so that we can't see data for any other campaign or look at the funnels. That's really up to you. To enable, just click Enable here and then Save Settings, and likewise to disable. So this is a very useful part of our support mechanisms. It makes it very easy for us to help you with configuration and issues if we can actually jump in, look at the funnel and see the configuration and help diagnose issues. And of course, you can just disable it when after we assist you and so on. So that's everything I wanted to run through in the basic user interface here. In later videos and documents, I'll go through creating landers, offers, traffic sources, and so on, and I'll address all of the specifics of those sections there. Hopefully that's been helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.